Can we?
Let's go completely Shadow War themed out.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, I got to check out this indie comic called The Fair Trade. Man, this was, first of all, I like the artwork. It seemed kind of muddled a bit because you don't really see comics these days that are like painted, and the whole thing was very stylized. It looked like it was painted in watercolors. It was very unique. And I didn't like it for the first couple of pages. It grows on you, and then I realized what the effect it has on it, because everything in this world seemed very ambiguous. If you actually see the artwork, you might appreciate this, having covered Earth Atlantis, where everything looks like parchments from like the 1800s.
Yeah, I saw the cover.
Yeah, the cover doesn't really
justice.
Because I
saw some window clips off of Johnny. So yeah, it looked great. It looked like straight watercolor.
Oh yeah, no, it's very different, and that I had to adjust it. I had to come around to that, and by the end, I was like, you know what? No, it really worked for this kind of story because it kept it somewhat light. Now, without going too like deep. This is a story about
what's setting in.
Well, it's actually set in a version, quote unquote, of this world in our society today.
Oh wow!
It's set in a fictional country called the Float.
Okay.
And the Float is like the I don't know, like the Big Apple type name, like the nickname of the place. But armies from a small nation formed a huge armada, and as different countries were developing back in like the days of Columbus and them, they just started attacking suckers. And
so claiming Nation and just started destroying everything.
No, not necessarily, because the Fire Nation became a big, huge nation, and then tried to take over everyone else. Ironically, the Float, when the leader tried to get them to be the Fire Nation, the generals were just like, "Nah, you need us. Forget you, ousted."
Oh wow!
Yeah,
savagery.
No, I dig it, because then they became the sovereign nation that every other nation depends on, because they're the proper neutral ground. And not neutral like Switzerland, where it's like, nah, we stave off, but neutral like, no, we've got the guns, we've got the numbers, you can do business here, because we don't feel like taking you out. Just so you know, we still run stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's kind of tight, because they boast that they're also a sovereign nation in themselves. I'm like, yo, this is deep, this is heavy. But a story like this usually goes deep, political, and
it sounded,
frankly, not fun to read.
Headed in that direction, it sounded like.
Yeah, but no, they cover that in just a few like historical panels, and then get to the actual story, where it's like this is a nation of pretty much free people run by democracy and committee simultaneously somehow, but they make it work, and they have police that keep the peace and order, and they have the government officials that keep the police in check. But who polices the government?
Exactly.
And they have this secret police force, kind of secret. It's more like ninjas.
Electra rocking around like
but they're not they're not thieving. They're not like, well, they are, but they're doing it for a purpose. They're doing it to maintain the status quo and to keep the peace of the country. Some politician gets a little too uppity, and they step in, and it's like, well, I'm sorry, you got to go hack. And it was beautiful, because I love this in concept. My only beef is that the book itself, it's a little too comfortable. It's a little too comfortable in the relations, which I usually love for works to do. When you get the first issue of something, or the first movie in something, the first game in what's supposed to be a longer series, and the writing really tries to force everything you need to know in like the dialogue.
Cram it down your throat.
Because it's like, what's wrong with an exposition page? What's wrong with the narration bar or something? Give me a page of something. Don't try to force it. It's like people just listen to the show for the first time. Well, D, I'm gonna do this thing right now, blah blah blah. Because D, and then so and so and so, and then D. What I found out was so D. What you got to understand, because I know you're also a black man from so and so, blah blah. And D, what you do is, and then D, and she, then D, and then so, and now mix. Let me talk to you, and then mix what you got to see, and then
everything's
mix,
happening
and then
so much.
Exactly. So it's just like they try to force things in and make it seem casual when it's like the most unrealistic flow you could have. This one, it's like, no, everything was straight. The problem with it is, though, I don't know these people right off the bat, and there's a quick introduction to the world, not an introduction to the players until the very end.
Oh,
so
wow.
So I don't know why she's talking to her cat. Well, why she's talking to a cat, like it's a person.
Wait,
I thought
you don't talk to cats like they're people?
No, I don't talk to cats like they're people.
Then you're not interacting with cats properly.
Really? I think you may be hearing something we the rest of us are not.
Look, I grew up watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and if there's one thing I learned, it's that you talk to your cat.
That's
like
not
people.
the same.
God,
that cat was a jerk. All right. Well, long story short, what I'm getting at is this was a really enjoyable book. I like the artwork. I like the fact that they took chances in the presentation. And at the end, unfortunately, this is a trade, but it's a trade of a single issue. Like this issue number 2 is meant to come out, I think, in November of this year, but it's still a longer issue that's of an incompleted story. And I liked that they were hinting that this is a like a League of Assassins taking out the big bad in this is a potentially Donald Trump like character.
Oh.
So that was a little tidbit they fed you where like, okay, fine, we're gonna see someone get handled in credits. Like what? Oh, and it's like in the letters page.
You see him,
but
in a nice brushed orange color.
Yeah, I got you. Just
soft tangerine,
like
or
corn silk
like
glow of mediocrity.
Silver hair.
Yeah. Okay, so the book is called The Fair Trade. No, excuse me, no, The Family Trade. The Fair Trade is coffee.
Fair trade cost, damn it.
No, it's called The Family Trade. It's by Justin Jordan. Actually, you can check it out right now. These cats are on Facebook, and you can go to like the URL. I give it a thumbs up all the way. It's called The Family Trade. You can check it out now online, and I don't think it's available physically just yet. But if you write these cats the Facebook, I mean, they made it blatantly obvious that yes, contact them, tweet at them, and let them know you are interested, you want to see more, what you liked, what you didn't like, etc. And I've never seen anyone give like personal email addresses in their letters page before. So I mean, they gave it, use it. But it's called The Family Trade. Check it out.
Neat.
All right, passing it over to Mix Macabre
Yo, what
because
up?
they have. I'm gonna hope they can refrain from nerding out too hard.